This is Sync Vibes, a platform dedicated to music discovery, where we connect with the artists we believe in, giving them the spotlight they deserve. Welcome, 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 welcome. All right. So first of all, thank you so much for pulling up, man. I really appreciate you.
No, I appreciate you, man.
For sure, man. So the goal here today is to figure out who you are as an artist and individual, and to hear how you see the world and things around you, all right?
Got you.
Let's do it. So first, tell us your name and how'd you come up with it?
Man, so my name is, I go by Deshawn Visionz, and how I came up with it was, Deshawn is my middle name. My name is Quentin Deshawn Ward, and I went through this whole situation where basically like, I walked from Texas to California on some like crazy spiritual stuff. And as I was walking, like, I started to see colors and stuff to like guide me and stuff like that. And basically it just hit me at a point in time. And that also like ties into like, if you pay attention to me on a daily, like 99% of the time I also wear jerseys. And that also had to do with the name and like the whole spiritual journey and all of that. But yeah, that's where it came from.
Gotcha. So I wasn't expecting that. So you walked from California to Texas. So you have a hitchhiking walk, or you said, no, I'm on feet the whole time? How did that go down?
So it would be like, I would walk a couple miles, and then like somebody would see me, and then like I would get a ride like a couple blocks, and then I would walk the rest. Like it was on and off, but majority of it was walking type shit.
Okay. So what did you learn about yourself during that time? What's the most big thing you learned about yourself doing all that?
Really, this was also like before I fully committed to music, because I never rapped until 2017.
Got you.
And that was just on some like, I'm just trying to motivate my homie type shit. And so I had made a video on Instagram of me like rapping, and then that turned into people wanted me to do it more. So then I was like, let me keep doing them. And then I went to a Saba show, and then like, it was a point in time where it felt like we had switched places, and I was looking at him type shit. And so when that happened in 2017, and because this was the same time the Texas stuff happened, it really showed me like, yo, this is where you're supposed to be, and if you are really serious about it and you want to go down this path, there's going to be a lot of sacrifices that are going to have to be made, and as well as, consistency and persistence. And because there was times during that walk I'm like, yo, I'm about to give up, this is it, especially because it was the summer too, so I'm dying carrying like a suitcase that was like, at first there was wheels on it, but then like one of the wheels broke off, so then I had to put it on my back. And
damn, man.
Yeah, bro, it was a lot, but it taught me to stay persistent, and it also taught me that when I want something, I'm gonna do all I can to make sure I get it type shit.
Got you. So was there something that sparked that trip? Like you were just in Sac one day, it's like, fuck it, I'm going on this walk, or like what led up to that?
So I had a homie who had moved from Sacramento to Texas, and he was there a couple years, and then he had told my other homie like, yo, you should come down here. And then I was interested in coming as well. And the plan originally was for the second homie to come earlier, and then me to come like later. But then my second homie was like, no, I'm about to go tomorrow, and say it's like 1 a.m. in the morning. He's like, I'm leaving at 6 a.m. So are you either coming or you're staying? And this was also a time where like, I used to smoke and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And so like, I just saw signs and stuff that was telling me like, no, you need to take this chance. So I'm like, I'ma just go. And yeah, that's really how it started, to just go with my homie and see something new. And also like, he was heavily invested in music. Like I said, he was the reason why I did the first video in the first place. And he was heavily invested in music, and he was just feeding me like, yo, we can do this, this, and this when we leave the city type stuff. So I was like, why not?
Okay, crazy. So First of all, how long did you stay in Texas once you got down there?
Like 6 months, something like that.
And family members, loved ones, they weren't worried about you doing this? They were just like, or what?
No, they were all worried because this
Yeah.
is also like the very first time I ever moved out in general.
Got you.
So I had told them like later in the year I'm gonna move, so they were kind of like getting mentally prepared for that. But when it happened on some like the very next day, like, yo, I'm leaving, it was like, wait, what? And it was definitely a lot of like tears and stuff like that. But the type of person I've always been, like, I have been outside my whole life. Like, over here is kind of different as far as like walking around in the neighborhoods and stuff.
True.
Because everything's so spread out. But Sacramento is more of a like suburban type area you could say. My mom would go to work like all day type stuff. So I would just go outside and I would like be around different neighborhoods and stuff, hanging out with friends and all that stuff. And yeah, so they already knew my personality. So at first it was like, damn, but.
It was a shock, but Deshawn's gonna do some crazy shit. Like that's what he does for sure.
Yeah.
All right. So I might have just mentioned it right now, but where do you call home?
I actually had, my last project was about that. And that's tough because at first I used to feel like home was just like a place that I lived my whole life, but it's more so just the feeling you get from somewhere. And, you know, as time went on, I really realized like Sacramento is my home. Yeah, like my family's originally from New York. So my whole life, like I've been trying to figure out a way to move back there, and I still, you know, want to one day, but in doing so and also being around people that, you know, had a disdain for Sacramento, because was like the trend back in the day to like hate Sacramento. Leaving Sacramento and just coming back and experiencing so many opportunities, it made me realize like, no, this place is what you make it, you know? And yeah, I would consider that home, even though like I'm getting very comfortable here and I'm meeting a lot of cool people. Sacramento still is like the core.
Got you. So describe growing up in Sacramento as a kid.
Growing up as a kid in Sacramento was interesting because just California in general is very big on like the gang culture. So there were a lot of situations where you just have to be mindful of what you're wearing and things you're saying, stuff like that. It was a lot of that. It was a lot of, for me, skateboarding. That was like a big thing in my life for the longest. I was sponsored at one point and I thought that's where I was gonna go. Also like acting. I did theater all 4 years, so that was a big portion of my life as well. And you know, just trying to be a kid, but also at the same time, majority of my friends were older, so dealing with those experiences as well, as far as like going to house parties and stuff like that, until the house parties got shot up and, you know, all of that stuff. It was just a whole lot of adventure, I guess I could say that.
For sure. I know a lot of people living in LA. I know a lot of people that aren't affiliated at all, right? But even they know, oh, this street means this street over here means that. They know the whole geography of this shit, right?
Yeah.
But they're not involved in it at all. So do you feel yourself having to like to juggle between staying out of it and still being a part of the city, or what?
Yeah, partially, I'm not gonna lie. I have some homies that are tied into, you know, Crips. I have homies that are tied into Bloods. And then like just people that are just there, but they're still a part of it by affiliation. Like, going back to being mindful of what you're wearing, biggest memory that always pops in my head is when I was in 7th grade, I had a friend who just recently passed, but one day he came to school in all red shirt, red shorts, red socks, red shoes. And after school, when we were walking home, like 15 Crips had like seen us and like ran up on us, and it just got ugly, but luckily we also had a friend who was tied in to that life and he diffused the situation. So it's one of those things to where it's like, even if you're not directly involved, you're still involved if you are maneuvering outside, I guess you could say.
You got to follow the rules even though you're not a part of it, basically. There you go. So tell me your clearest childhood memory.
Clearest childhood memory. Damn, I would really say living, I would say living in this specific house. It was a house that I just always felt right being in. I was there from like first grade to like third or fourth, but yeah, it was a good time. And also there was the same time where like a lot of people in the neighborhood knew us, because I have siblings as well, and we would all be outside. So a lot of people in the neighborhood knew us and they were all cool with us, and like we could go to like other people's houses and like kick it and stuff, even if they weren't there type shit. And one time my younger brother was like looking out a window and he was like leaning a little too hard and he fell out the window and fell head first onto my mom's minivan at the time. And that was the talk of the town literally for like a couple years. And yeah, it was just a good time where like I felt like it was more of a community versus you having neighbors and nobody knows each other.
Definitely about a village raising all the kids.
Facts.
That's dope, man. So outside of music, who's the biggest influence in your life?
Outside of music, I would say currently my sister, my younger sister. And I would say that because she is pursuing modeling, and it seems like my whole family is still in Sacramento.
Gotcha.
So it's like every time I check on her or I'm like looking on Instagram and stuff like that, I'm seeing her doing new shoots and like new opportunities. She's doing LA Fashion Week, she's in a magazine, stuff like that. So yeah, definitely my sister right now.
That's fire, man. That's dope. So just going back to Sac, is there a music scene for artists like yourself, make type of music you make? Because usually I know Sac for like Mozzie and stuff like that, but is there a lane for you guys out there?
It's a yes and a no. I'll say that because you are exactly right. Like that is the Mozzie scene and all of that. Mm-hmm. That is the biggest scene out there, but there are also other pockets of different things now. And that's actually going into the reason I moved from Sacramento.
Gotcha.
Because there wasn't necessarily, even though there were somewhat similar artists, there weren't necessarily all of the resources. So it was hard. Like you had to drive a couple hours to go to the Bay Area and potentially do something there, or drive like 6-7 hours to go to LA and potentially get something going there. And I would just see a lot of things going on in Atlanta, and I had met a lot of people through like social media and stuff like that. And I'm like, damn, it just seems like there's always something going on over here. So that's why I moved over here. But there's pockets, and it's growing now today. A lot of the people that I started with are building opportunities. Shout out, City Sound. It's a studio that my homie Jordan and a couple others created, and they really are for the community, as well as like creating opportunities like Freestyle Fridays, to where like any artist can pull up like every other Friday and everybody's just together and everybody's just hopping on the mic, freestyling, having a good time. And it's a controlled, safe environment. Everybody's on a village community type thing.
So when it comes like the music landscape, LA has a big music scene. Why did you choose Atlanta instead of going to LA? Did you just not see the opportunity out there like you did here, or no?
Really?
And LA is closer as well to you as well, yeah.
Yeah, honestly, like I said, my family's originally from New York, so like my whole life, I've always wanted to live in New York. And originally I was gonna go back to Oklahoma, or I was gonna go to Oklahoma back in like the Texas area. With the homie that I went to Texas with, things just didn't work out. So I did an interview on this platform called Major Stage, I did an interview and a live performance in New York over there, and then while I was out there, I had a friend at the time that lived out here, and she had told me to come out here, and then I had did an interview type song breakdown thing for this platform here called Spinrilla, and while I was in the Lyft to go there, I was talking to the Lyft driver, and he was explaining like how much it's so like everybody's trying to lift each other up here, and everybody's like grinding and hustling to get to where they want, and it was just dope hearing that. And then I thought about it, and I'm like, Atlanta is closer to New York, so it just makes sense for me being here. LA is cool. I went there the very first time ever when I was out here last year, and that was cool, but it's not necessarily the place I see myself being.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Makes sense. So speaking on that still, you have a song called Keep Pushing, or more of like a interlude on Keep Pushing where you talk to your mom. I'm assuming that's your mom, right?
That's my aunt.
Your aunt. Okay, gotcha, your aunt. So how does it feel to have that type of support where you feel like, where I felt like she loves you, she cares about you, she wants you to do the best and push yourself, but she also seems like a person that's not gonna bullshit you either. You know what I'm saying? How does it feel to have that type of support on your side?
Man, it's actually a lot, and it's crazy because it really like, the universe works in mysterious ways, and it was something that I specifically needed to hear in that point of time, because when I was making that specific project, it was right when I had moved out here, and so much stuff was going downhill that I was like, damn, like, should I move back? Like, I know I just got here, but it's already going downhill, and this is crazy, and I don't know if I'm ready for it. And originally, I was going to make a song to that beat. Like, I had pressed record, about to make a song to that beat, and then she called, and she just started spewing that out. And as I'm listening to her, I'm like, no, this is what's supposed to go on here. And yeah, it really, it felt good knowing like, okay, it's not necessarily just me that wants this, it's also people around me that wants me to have it, you know, so yeah, it was very dope.
That's what's up, man. She proved you right, basically. Just stick through it and you'll get to where you need to be.
100%.
Absolutely. So how have you seen your career elevate since you've been out here?
It's been easier to connect with a lot of different artists. I've been presented more opportunities. Things are just more accessible here as far as like the certain sonic sounds that producers make over here. A lot of different artists that I have became friends with that are on similar frequencies with me, but also are extremely talented. So it also pushes me to step up my game as well. And it's just, it's a lot here that that puts a fire in my belly.
Gotcha. Now let's take a step back real quick and talk about how you got into hip hop in the first place. How did that start for you?
Like creating it or just listening?
Into music at all, yeah.
Oh, so like creating or
let's say create. Say just do how you got into hip hop, like as like a listener, as a fan, and then go into the creating part of it.
Okay, got you. So as far as listening, one of my earliest memories really was being a kid and my mom, you know, showing different types of music, not even just hip hop, but like Coldplay or like, you know, pop or rock and stuff like that. So that kind of opened my mind to like listening to different things. And then, you know, I didn't have specifically a favorite artist as a kid for the longest time. I like Snoop Dogg because he had this song, it's called like Sensual Eruption or something. Sensual
Seduction?
Yeah,
that shit's crazy.
I don't know why, but like I really messed with that song on top of the fact like he was also acting and stuff like that. So I'm like, dang, this dude is very versatile. And I was on that song for a second, but there was one point in time where my grandma, she was a nurse at jail. And so she would go from time to time to pick up her paychecks, and she played Kanye West graduation.
Yep.
Like she had that on repeat every time we went there, and I'm like, damn, like I like this dude because of the fact he wasn't necessarily, not that I didn't like the other stuff, but I just connected with him more because he wasn't necessarily on like the street type vibe. He was just on some like braggadocious, I'm him type vibes, and I just gravitated towards it, and I'm like, damn. And then, you know, from there, Chris Brown, Kid Cudi, Ludacris, Drake, and so on and so forth. But as far as me getting into creating music, like I said, me and my homies used to hotbox in the car, and they would all freestyle, and I just would never be interested in it. And this was like after high school type stuff, and I would never be interested in it. I would just be sitting there just soaking in like them doing it. They would like try to get me to do it, but I'll be like, nah, I'm good, I'm gonna just listen. And one of my homies like had an extreme passion for music. Like he was very versatile as well, and he just wanted to do it like really badly, so he would talk about it a lot. And one day I was working at the time, and I was working at this Apple warehouse, and I just thought about it like, damn, if I'm gonna make a little 1-minute Instagram video, because also at the time like this 10-toe challenge thing was popular, where like people would sit in their car and like rap a little or whatever. And I'm like, well, let me do one of these, not because I want to do it, but really just to motivate him and show him like, oh, yo, if I could do this and I don't even care about getting embarrassed, and I don't even, you know, want to do it like that, and people mess with it, then you should just do it. You know what I mean? You're actually talented and you actually want to do it. And I did it, and people were showing love. A part of the love was, I would never expect you to be the one to do this. And then the other part was like, oh no, it's actually kind of cool. And so I did that, and then I probably did like 2 other ones just on some like, let me just cement this, like, bro, I'm doing this, like, do it. And then I had went to the Saba show, and then like it felt on some spiritual stuff, like we had switched bodies, and I was like looking at the crowd and looking at him, and I'm like, yo, like what the heck? So from there, like, I'm like, maybe I should keep doing these little Instagram videos. And I made it a thing to do them, and I got creative to where it was like, I would try to have different settings for them. So like instead of the car, I'll be at the park or like in the grocery store, or like wherever type stuff, just to like set the tone. And it started to gain attraction, not only from the people from my city, but just online. I think the 3rd one that I had did went viral, and it just got posted on all these different Instagram pages, and one of them got posted on a collage on YouTube and got like 300,000 views or something like that. And I'm like, yo, like, I wasn't even super serious about this, but we're just gonna keep going. And people would tell me like, no, you need to actually make music, you need to actually make music. And I had went to another Saba show, and in a weird way, like the same spiritual like flip thing happened again. So I'm like, there's no way that this is happening to me right now like this. And from there I was like, no, I think I have to make a song. And 2018 was when July of 2018 was when I made my first song, and then I've just been going ever since.
Good. So when it came to you starting to make music or taking it seriously, whose music would you say that you studied and had an influence on you?
Saba, number 1 Saba. Mick Jenkins, definitely say Mick Jenkins, Isaiah Rashad.
For sure.
Even like Drake, like Saba is like my main guy, but Drake is like OG, like he's him to me. J. Cole as well. And then like Jaden Smith. I really mess with Jaden Smith a lot.
That's what's up, that's what's up. So talk to me about your first studio session that you really took serious. Like I'm making a song right now, I'm putting this out with intention. Like talk about that session.
So my first song that I made, I had homies that already had a buzz in the city. They were a group called The Weirdos, and I just used to listen to their music, and I used to sit there and think like, dang, like these guys are really popping, and I really genuinely mess with their music. And one of the dudes from the group, he goes by Arrow. He used to skateboard as well back at the time when I was skateboarding, and so we had already built that connection. And then I met the rest of them. But one day they had one of them had posted, "Yo, I'm doing studio sessions, $30 for an hour," and I'm like, you know what? Let me do this. So I did it, and it was very interesting because it was new to me. Like, I'm used to just camera, press record, rap. So like actually making a song and like doing like, okay, we're gonna cut and like come back in and like all of that stuff. I was like, yo, like this is new, but it was interesting. And when I had put it out, it just felt like a weight was released from my shoulder.
Got you. So how long did it take for you to get comfortable in the studio?
That's something that's really like, maybe, I couldn't even fully answer that because it just, depending on the scenario, I'm still not comfortable in today's time. Like,
Gotcha.
I'm one of those people, like, I don't like recording unless it's like a thing to where it's like multiple people are hopping on the song. If it's a just me thing, like, I am very personal with my music, so I don't like recording with other people in the room majority of the time. And so when there are other people in the room, it's kind of like, I kind of clinch up a little, but at the same time, it's like, I'm gonna do it because this is what I love to do. But I would never say I'm fully there yet, but as far as like cool level comfortable to where I can still do it, probably last year or the year before that, honestly.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
So when it comes to like your own personal music, let's say an album that you're making, you want to be by yourself, have the time to just create on your own pace, your own time, basically, right?
100%.
But let's say you had to get in, let's say J. Cole hit you up and said, I want to get on. Once you get on my track, you'd be able to go in there and do your thing if need be.
See, yeah, no, that's a different story,
Yeah.
because then it's not my song, it's his, and it's like, oh, I can do that with anybody.
For sure.
Whenever
for sure.
somebody's ready type shit.
That's what's up. So in the world now, it's in the last 3 to 5 years, right? Rap or music in general has been something that anybody has an option to do. Like, it's just something people do for whatever reason. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
What are you doing to stand out from the crowd and so stand out as a rapper out here?
I think, a couple of people have literally told me this within the past year, actually, more than lately. They have been saying that a thing that they respect and love about me is I'm very vulnerable in my music. Not to say that others aren't, but I just feel like I don't have a problem letting out specific things that I need to let out, you know? And I'm the type of person, personally, I don't care if the song has the most bars, more so you resonate with the song and it impacts you feeling-wise.
Gotcha. So do you think music allowed you to be vulnerable making music, or is that something you always had the ability to do, like in your personal life?
I would say it was a mixture of everything that has happened in my life, as far as like, because I used to be extremely shy when I was a kid, like to the point to where I would be in the store with my mom and she'd be like, go ask them for your shoe size, and I'd be like, no. I feel like skateboarding was the very first thing that kind of opened me to, you know, just being out there and not being afraid to fall and stuff like that and get back up and, you know, building connections. And then the acting added to that on some like, okay, it's different when you're skateboarding. Not every eyes are on you. There's multiple skaters. So you know, you might have a couple, but not everybody, versus going to acting. And then it's like, okay, everybody's eyes are specifically on you and they're watching your facial expressions and everything, and you have to play these vulnerable characters. So the combination of those two, and then, you know, just regular working life and being outside, all of that added on to me getting in this stage to where I was like, I'm just gonna speak my truth. That's what music is ultimately for you to speak your truth. And yeah.
That's cool, man. Hell yeah. So we'll talk about promotion. Is that a big part of your releasing music at this point, or are you just trying to build a catalog?
I'm definitely very aware of promotion, and I definitely try to make that a thing. I'm not necessarily a type of person that's like, I want to drop something every week or every 2 weeks. I'm more so like every 6 months to a year, because again, I'm very vulnerable. I try to be very vulnerable in my music, and so I don't want it to feel like it's just here and there. Like, I want you to be able to soak it in, digest it, and sometimes you might listen to something in the moment and be like, you know what I mean? It's not the frequency I'm on right now, but then later come back and be like, damn, I relate to this heavily. And I like that aspect of it, to where it's like, it can grow over time, and then you can like, it sits and marinates with you, to where it's like, no, I agree with this and I fully resonate with this. But the promotion aspect, I want you to feel like it's an important part of my life, so I like to, release it out that way.
Gotcha, because I don't see you you're on social media, but you're not like extremely active. You're not trying to be like a personality on there. Like some artists feel like they have to be.
Nah, I'm more so like, when it's my time to come out, I'm gonna come out and you're gonna know I'm out. And when it's not, like, nah, because I really, actually, I only have Instagram. Like, I have TikTok as well, but I don't really care for TikTok that much. I don't have Twitter. I've never had, MySpace or any of that. And if I had it my way, I just wouldn't be on social media at all.
I feel you, man, for sure.
But I realized you have to be on it, so I am on it as much as I can, but not too much.
Gotcha.
Like, a lot of people say, like, you should have a Twitter because you're, stifling your growth and all this. But I also want to prove to people as well, like, you don't have to have every social media to make something happen.
I feel like it depends what type of artist you are. Like, a guy like you, your music is vulnerable, it resonates with people. So when you drop something, that's what's gonna resonate with them, not you showing your face, taking selfies and doing all that type of stuff. You see what I'm saying?
That's facts.
There you go. So we'll talk about picking people that you have around you, right? So I feel like that's a big important thing, especially for artists or as anybody. How do you pick the people that are in your inner circle at this point in your life?
That's so crazy that you have said that, because I've been thinking about that a lot recently. I think that the universe will naturally kind of give you a feeling of who's supposed to be around and who's not supposed to be around. Personally, I'm very much so a type of person to where I'm very locked in on what I want to do in my life and the direction I want it to go. So it's hard for me to be around people that aren't necessarily going that direction. And it doesn't even need to be like you doing music as well. It could be you doing photography or you doing modeling or just any of that. But like, that direction, that's the direction I like to gravitate towards. And luckily the people that I'm around, especially here, they all have the same passion, hunger, and direction. So it kind of just made it easier for me to acquire my friends. But it's also still hard because, I have a lot of friends in Sacramento and stuff like that. And, at times I can get very busy or just very locked in to where I can't give them all of my attention. And that gets kind of tough. But it's one of those things to where if people, I try to look at it like, if I fuck with you, you should know that I fuck with you. And if you feel like I don't fuck with you, then it just is what it is.
Something's wrong there with that connection.
Yeah, I'm not about to be on my hands and knees to show you that I mess with you. Like, you should just feel it.
You shouldn't have to reinforce the fact that I fuck with you.
Exactly.
It should just be natural. There you go. So on the other side of that, there's networking, right? Business-wise. For example, I found you through Rokai, right?
Definitely.
It's what you did with him.
Oh, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. Because I did an interview with Rokai. It's my first interview when I got out here.
Oh man, shout out that man.
Definitely, talented guy, for
actually
sure.
One of my closest friends here now. Yeah.
Talented guy. So there's that happens, and it's beautiful when you can find people like you said, you found real kindness to one of your closest friends out here that makes music with you as well. See what I'm saying? But how do you do like when network? Let's say you don't know this person, like for example, this right here, right? I hit you up randomly, you saw an opportunity to, it's mutually beneficial, so we linked up, right? How do you approach that like in your business life? See what I'm saying?
As far as me going out my way to approach them, or
Yeah, like say somebody hits you, like an artist hits you up, like well, how do you like filter out like, okay, am I gonna fuck with them or not? See what I'm saying? Because you don't have to be friends with everybody you make music with. See what I'm saying?
No, definitely.
Yeah.
It really just depends, you know. Certain situations, I'm not gonna lie, because I try not to be in the DMs as much. So certain situations I genuinely do miss.
Gotcha.
And it's like, damn, like I didn't even see that, and like 3-4 months has passed.
Gotcha.
It is what it is now. But there are other situations where I guess I will see them, and it depends on the vibe, I guess. Because I also know that not every opportunity is for you. So you don't have to, you shouldn't take every opportunity.
Definitely.
And there's been times where I've been presented opportunities, but the vibe just didn't feel like something that was for me. So I kind of had to not go with that. And then as far as like artist to artist working together, it's a couple of things. Like if I genuinely am heavily interested in what you are doing, majority of the time, like I'm just down. You know, there are certain situations where I'm kind of interested, but it's not really like a full desire. Then we might get to talking about prices and stuff like that. But I try my best to figure out a way to, you know, figure something out with everybody. But again, like some situations are just not for you, and those I just let it be what it is.
So it's safe to say you prefer to have things be organic. Like if I fuck with you, let's make music. See what I'm saying?
I'm very much so heavily, you know, like you said, some situations you don't have to be friends, but whether we're friends or not, I do like to feel some type of connection. Like, even if it is on just a business transaction, I would prefer it doesn't feel like that. Like, I would prefer it feels like we are cool in some, you know, degree.
Gotcha. Because a lot of artists that I've like seen online, whatever it is, or that I meet, like they'll come in the studio with somebody and they'll talk for like a few hours before anything even happens. You know what I'm saying? So like yeah, it has to be that type of connection, or else it's just like doesn't feel right.
Yeah.
Because you're not making just like any type of music. You're making real personal music.
Unless like it's somebody from like a different state or something to where I can't necessarily get to in the moment. And even like if we were to make this song, I would still try to at some point, if possible, hop on a phone call with them and try to get to know them on that type of level.
Gotcha.
But, yeah.
That's cool, man. Definitely. So is there a difference between networking out here and networking in Sacramento?
I think it's the same. I just think it's a bigger degree here.
Gotcha.
Because there's more opportunities to network out here. So sometimes you have to approach the situations differently. Versus in Sacramento, it's kind of easier to network because for the most part, everybody knows everybody or they're familiar with somebody. So it's you know, that type of stuff. But it's ultimately, I feel like no matter what city or state you're in, it's all fundamentally the same. You know what I'm saying? It's about making sure you have something to present. You know, a lot of the times, and I do this as well sometimes, a lot of the times we get in these positions to where we may feel like a person owes us something or they're supposed to do something for us, but we aren't presenting anything to even pique their interest for them to even be open to doing things. I used to be the type of person that's like, oh, this person doesn't mess with me, he's da-da-da, fuck them, da-da-da, but it's like, they don't know you and they don't owe you anything. They're not obligated to do anything.
You can't expect anything from a stranger.
Exactly.
Sure.
So, you know, making sure you are that presentation and then approaching them correctly.
Facts. So we'll talk back into your influences. Talk about your favorite song and then your favorite album.
My favorite song ever is "A Change Is Gonna Come" by Sam Cooke. Literally, that song just motivates me so much to the point where like, damn, I feel like I shed a tear listening to that song. I'm like, damn, like a change is gonna come. Like literally, I know, times get hard, but if you keep at it, eventually you're gonna break through the wall. And then favorite project would have to be The Bucket List by Saba, because that was the project that ultimately got me into music and just shaped how I approach music as well. I have a couple favorites, but that is the main one, yeah.
Bet. So let's go into one of your projects. So tell us about creating your latest project, Home. What's Home?
So I try to, in some way, have them really all feel like a continuous story. My first project was about me getting here and having to deal with all these trials and tribulations. The second project was me getting comfortable, but something was missing to where it was like, I felt like I was comfortable, but does this really feel home? Does it really feel somewhere where I can let my guard down? Am I finally where I want to be? And it was just me internally battling with that, as well as like, I'm still at the same time as well, like building great friendships I have now, but at the time, like they were still fresh. So still kind of building those and, missing out on the friends that I had back home, and like still partially contemplating like, damn, do I want to go back to where I feel like is home or stay here? And then, going back to just realizing like home it's not always necessarily a specific place. It's a feeling of what you get from a person, place, or thing.
Exactly. That's what's up, man. So what's the core message that listeners are going to get from when they listen to your music?
I would say that the core message is to not give up, really, to push through it no matter what's going on. Nothing is impossible if you stay consistent, and if you fall, get right back up and keep going.
Gotcha. Another song that really reinforces what you just said right there is No More Disguises from your last album, Solstice, right? Gotcha. I want you to break that down, because to me that song is more about like being confident in yourself no matter what. Like don't mask yourself. Don't do anything that's gonna make people second guess what you think. If you say you're an artist, be an artist. You say you're a painter, be a painter. You know what I'm saying? So break that down for us a little bit more.
It was so much going on at that point in time. Again, this was when I first moved out here, and I was still dealing with the feelings of breaking up with a girl that, how do I say this? A girl that showed me what being in love felt like, but also like, reflecting on opportunities with other women that I could have been with, and trying to push to New York and thinking that I had it and I didn't need sleep, and totaling my car and just all this extra stuff. And I was at a point to where I really wanted to give up, not even necessarily like music, but more so like just life in general. Like I just wanted to give up. And I had heard that beat, and it was like a voice in my head was speaking to me and telling me like, yo, like let all this out on the table, but at the end of the day, like let it be known that this is happening, but it is what it is, you know what I mean? Like if you don't own who you are, and if you don't become confident in yourself, you're always gonna run into these situations. Like negative vibes attract negative vibes. So until you switch your mindset, and it's gonna keep happening. And that was a song where I was like, fuck all this, like nothing's gonna stop me.
Yeah, that's what's up, dude. So another thing you talk about a lot in your music is striving for success. What does that success look like to you when you finally made it? What does it look like to you?
Really, honestly, I've never been the type of person that was like, I need to have the most money in the world. For me, success is being able to do what I love without worrying about when the next paycheck is gonna come, to be able to go out in the world. Like, I don't wanna be struggling paycheck to paycheck, and I don't wanna even have to think about working a regular job. Like, I just only wanna be creating music, be able to take care of myself in a comfortable position, and then also, like, if possible, taking care of my loved ones and the people around me. Now, I can't put a specific dollar amount on that, but once I get there, to me, I'm good. I don't care about nothing else, you know? And naturally, I'm saying this, that's not me saying that I'm just gonna stop trying and stop putting in the work. But for me, it's like, just the bare minimum of success to me is that, and then we could go from there.
You can put in more work when you're financially stable, you're financially free anyway. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're not thinking about the next dollar, you can always sit down, go anywhere in the world and just be like, I'm making music for the next month and just chill out and just not worry about shit.
Exactly.
That's what's up, man. So when you're not making music is your life. When you're not doing that, what do you do to decompress?
Yo, so the way my life is set up, literally, when I'm not making music, I'm really watching podcasts like Joe Budden or Rory and Mal, or just like, I just have this thing where I'm so engulfed in music to where if it's not necessarily music related, it's kind of hard for me to keep focused. Late at night, like, I watch a movie, I guess you'd say. I'm into movies, but I wouldn't say like all day, every day type of thing. And then being around my friends and my loved ones and stuff like that, like, that's a cool decompress as well.
Gotcha. So you're fully immersed in this right now. This is your whole life. You're gonna do everything you can, even just learning from Joe Budden or whatever. You feel me?
Yo, it's literally to the point to where, like, I will just be listening to music and, how do I say it? Like, what are they called? Endorphins?
Yeah.
Like, that shit will just start pouring out like crazy. Like, I'm in euphoria. Like, just from the littlest things in a song, like a background melody or a trumpet or something, I'm like, oh my goodness. Like, that's just how deep I am into it. And it goes back to, like, it's hard at times because it got to the point to where I'm so deep into it, I kind of have to isolate myself a lot of the times, and, you know, people will start to get these notions like I don't mess with them, or, you know, I can't necessarily talk to my family all the time and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the deeper I go, the more I'm just surrounded by it.
Very good. So I want to talk to you about how you deal with doubters and stuff like that, whether it's on the internet, whether it's just people in your life. How do you feel when people doubt your music or just hate on you for whatever reason? See what I'm saying?
Really, I don't care. Like,
that's the best attitude to have, for sure. For sure.
I used to be to the point where I'm like, damn, everybody's not messing with me and stuff like that. And it used to eat me inside to where it was like, damn, like, I gotta do this and this and this. But now I'm just at the point to where I'm like, I'm so in love with what I'm doing. Like, I don't care if everybody around me just wasn't messing with it. As long as I'm internally happy, y'all could talk all day. Like, from time to time, people will say some wild shit on the internet, and I'm not the type of person that's like, oh yeah, let me respond to you. Like, that's cool, you got it.
That's dope, man, that's dope. No matter what anybody says, fuck it, at the end of the day. Yeah.
You got it.
Good shit. So what aspect of the music industry do you feel you had to learn firsthand?
Do I have to learn?
Like, you feel like you had to learn firsthand, something you didn't know coming in, but you had to learn that. You had to experience it to learn it. See what I'm saying?
Got you. I had to learn that marketing and promotion is more important than the music at times. Because I have a lot of friends that make music, to me, that's better than a lot of the mainstream stuff that will only get, you know, a couple hundred plays or a couple thousand plays or whatever. But with marketing, it can take that a whole new level, you know what I mean? It's not always, I used to think like you just make a song, people hear it, it blows up. But that's not the case. And, you know, the deeper I got into it, the deeper I thought about it, like, let's just say McDonald's. McDonald's is, everybody knows McDonald's, you know what I'm saying? McDonald's can't just drop something and then people just automatically know what it is. They still have to market and promote their stuff as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely the marketing and the promotion are big, just as big, if not bigger than creating the music.
Got you. Like you said before, you don't want to be on social media 24/7, but like in these days, you have to do that.
Yeah, and then also another thing is there's an audience for everybody, you know what I mean? Like, I used to think there's just one audience, but it's like, no, like, what someone likes over here could be different from what somebody likes over here, you know what I mean? So once you find your audience, it's just about building your audience, not trying to build the next person's audience.
And I feel like there's a goal, like for the artist whose goal isn't to be like on the internet all the time, like for example, J. Cole and Kendrick, they barely post because they did all the work to make sure when they drop a music, when they drop a song, people are gonna fuck with it regardless, no matter what it is.
And that is another thing as well. Even though I don't go crazy on social media like that, I also am very aware I am not J. Cole or Kendrick. Like, I can't just drop one post and then it just goes crazy. Like, I still have to put in the work. You know what I mean? The goal is to get to that level, but you can't come out the gate expecting you to just be there.
What's the best investment you made into your career?
The best investment, I would say, is a home studio, literally. And I would say the best investment just in a general sense, because you can fuck up and try again as many times as you want without worrying about like, damn, how many hours did I put in? How much do I have to pay the engineer at the studio? Stuff like that, as well as like, if you want to do songs with people like from different places or whatever, you could just send stuff over real quick.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And you can learn how to produce yourself. You can learn how to mix and master yourself. You can learn how to do everything yourself if that's what you desire.
Gotcha.
You know, versus the studio. For me, I'm not the biggest studio guy, just because I just feel like when I'm in the studio, which I will be from time to time, but when I am in the studio, it's like my mind is thinking, damn, like I have to hurry up and do this before the time runs out, versus I got all the time in the world.
Got you. So do you outsource engineering and mixing stuff like that, or do you do yourself?
So what I do is I'll record, basically what you just said. Yeah, I'll record and then I'll send it. I have people, which still from Sacramento to this day, like I try to figure out ways, no matter what, to incorporate people from Sacramento in every project. So I'll send it to them, unless I work with somebody over here and they want to, you know, mix and master the stuff or produce the stuff. It's either here, Sacramento, or, you know, outside. This new project that I'm working on, I got a producer that lives in Egypt right now.
That's crazy.
Yeah,
that's dope.
And that's gonna be an interesting song. But yeah, definitely.
How'd you find that producer?
He found me through social media. I guess he had heard some of my songs and had seen me on a couple blogs and stuff like that. And he was like, bro, I'm just big, I don't like using the word fan, so I'm using supporter. I'm a big supporter of your work and I would love to work with you, and we just been cool ever since.
That's dope, man, that's far. So tell me what the legacy that you want to leave behind.
The legacy I want to leave behind really is that, one, there's no specific time limit to do things, you know what I mean? Like, they used to be like, you gotta be young, and then, you know, blow by the time you're like 20 to 23 type stuff, but that's not the case. Griselda blew when they were 35, you know what I mean? Like, and I see people on social media all the time blow at an older age, so really it's, there's no specific time limit, so don't feel like you gotta rush if you're not 100% ready, but at the same time, still put in work to get there. And then also, it doesn't matter where you live. You can make it happen, you know? like I said, there wasn't necessarily every specific resource for us in Sacramento, because I feel like Sacramento is extremely slept on. But we're in the age of social media, you know what I mean? Like, you can be anywhere, and if you create good music and figure out ways to market it, you're golden. Somebody's gonna find it, and you know, regardless, like, good music is it's subjective, but good music is always gonna prevail in my eyes.
Definitely.
With consistency.
That's what's up, man. So what are your plans for the rest of this year?
Plans for the rest of this year, I have one more song I have to finish with this project, and then after this project, I'm going to be releasing it, and then really just figuring out ways to market it. I have this festival in North Carolina that next month, actually, that I should be performing at with a friend. And yeah, man, really just, it's my main focus is this project and getting it done, because I've been working on it since directly after I dropped the last project. I've been working on this project, and it's very special to me. Like, to me, this is the most special project that I've ever made. So yeah, just really making sure this comes out the way I want it to come out.
Yeah, man, cool. So thanks so much for pulling up again, man. Really appreciate you.
I appreciate you, man.
Sure,
Thank
man.
you for having me.
Definitely, bro. Wishing you the best, though.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.